Hello and welcome to the projector, and on this episode we're going to see Austin Butler and Tom Hanks team up together to give us one of the most unique and probably never heard of story in Elvis Presley's history, and that is with the 2022 Elvis. Elvis tells a unique life story of the one Elvis Presley, but not just about Elvis Presley, but about the person who wronged him, Colonel Tom Parker. As Tom Parker takes Elvis on a lifelong career and basically creates the man, myth, and legend that we know today, as well as eventually destroying the life of the man that we all come to know and love and the music we never forgot. There were a lot of Elvis movies that came out as of last year in 2022, and I wasn't so sure or really known of what kind of Elvis film that they would have gone with, since I have seen a few of them in my lifetime, as well as growing up with the Elvis Presley movies, such as Girl Girl Girls, King Creole, Blue Hawaii, and a bunch of others. And I really gotta say that I got to credit these actors were credited due, and particularly for one Austin Butler, who looks exactly like the king of rock and roll himself, the one and only Elvis Presley, and the way that the movie makes him look later on, where, yes, they basically put white makeup on him, but the way how they just get it done with Austin Butler really makes me think that the king of rock and roll has been resurrected. And I think that for captain choice, Austin Butler was a great decision for showing us of how great that Elvis was and also how great he handled the role. And also showing us his home and lifestyle where he grew up under the care of his mother while his father was in prison and unfortunately losing his twin brother Jesse, who he believes gave him the strength to live. Butler was just such a great decision on the casting department part, and especially making him look like a different version of Elvis, where he was when he was a teenager, where he was when he was an adult, and where he was just before he unfortunately passed away at the young age of 42. And Butler really did handle the role well, and I really got to hand it to him, and that this is probably one of the at least in my opinion, like one of my favorite performances of the king of rock and roll that has ever come to the big screen. But of course, you don't just have the hero of the movie, who is Elvis. You were supposed to look at him as a hero. And what's really funny is that they also established that Elvis Presley, that a lot of people don't know, is that he was a big fan of comic books, primarily um, Captain Marvel Jr., or as it would be known as today, Shazam Jr., or whatever. But I think that's so funny that that was a fact that honestly I never knew about Elvis Presley. I've always have known him as quite a talented singer and also quite a talented actor, and in fact that he looked up to James Dean for his acting quality, and he had made quite a few great movies. There were some that he hasn't made, like one that does get referenced, and I think it pays homage to Elvis Presley. I wouldn't know, I haven't seen it, but it's A Star Is Born, a movie that Elvis Presley wanted to do with Barbara Streisand, which unfortunately did not get made until years later with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, which pretty much had the same role of a person finding a singer and giving them their stardom, their creative, their creativity. And I just gotta hand it to Butler in just captivating the audience like that, and especially which cannot be an easy task, which is singing like Elvis Presley, something that Taron Egerton and Rami Malek both had to go through for both Rocketman and Bohemian Rhapsody. And there is one thing in this movie that they just do well, and does create the villain of the movie. And I know I'm getting sidetracked, but the villain of the movie is just kind of hard for me to accept because the villain of this movie is played by one of my favorite actors and also voice actors because I grew up with Toy Story, and that is Tom Hanks. But Tom Hanks plays this role very, very well done, and he gives us a villain worth hating in Colonel Tom Parker, who was Elvis's basically financial advisor. Tom Hanks was great at portraying this amazingly, devastatingly great con man that wanted to take everything away from Elvis Presley and make it his own. Even to the fact where Elvis eventually in the movie rebelled and seeing his son trouble, Colonel Parker gets very upset with the young singer. It is unfortunate that such a talented singer like Elvis Presley had to be abused by somebody that just wanted nothing but money and power in his corruption, and specifically for Parker, it was just the money. And according to the movie, and also Tom Hanks himself, who's the narrator of the movie, is that Parker also had quite a gambling debt that he wanted to clean, and hopefully did, with the king of rock and roll. And the captain choice for using Tom Hanks as a villain is probably the best decision I have seen because he really makes you want to hate him all throughout this film, and I really gotta say that eventually you will. And there's a lot more to Colonel Tom Parker than meets the eye. In fact, he reminds me a lot of the talented music coordinator that found Freddie Mercury and also ended up using him not only just for sex and their own sexual pleasures and gains, but as well as using him for money and also just using his voice so he would never go bankrupt. In fact, Elton John's very first love and also very first music coordinator or business manager, whatever, also ended up abusing him as well and using his voice and his money to get his own personal gains while also abusing the great Elton John himself. And so you really do get this in Elvis is that you see that Elvis and the Colonel do get along together, but eventually they show you the darker and more gray areas of their relationship to eventually where everything starts going haywire and that everybody can't control it. And specifically, you see this with Priscilla Presley's presence in the movie, with that she's trying to tell Elvis what he should do because she wants what's best for her husband. In fact, she even goes her out of her way to go and interrogate him while he was visiting Lisa Marie, who is unfortunately no longer with us either, and that she is trying to tell him if you want to live, do it for your daughter, which is a great point, and that she was trying to help him because he was suffering from so much exhaustion that he just eventually collapsed from it all, and according to the movie, did a heart attack, and where people suspect what killed Elvis, which is still a term that a lot of people are still looking after till to this day, where we as the audience are to believe that it was Elvis's dedication to the fans of that's what killed him. And I don't exactly think that that is true. I mostly like to think that it was probably more from the abuse and more from the alcohol and the pill consumption that Elvis had went through, and especially that it was made worse when Parker just would not leave the poor singer and dedicated husband and father alone to be with his wife, to be with his daughter, and just he eventually collapsed under so much pressure that it eventually is what led to a downfall. And really, you got to see it from the Colonel's perspective because there are two main characters of this film, the Colonel himself and also Elvis Presley. Watching Elvis's downfall is probably the saddest part of the movie, but the one that will motivate you the most is getting to know the man behind the legendary music. Things are made even worse when poor Elvis is entrapped inside of Las Vegas and can't go anywhere, only because Colonel Parker says that the outside world wants to kill him, which just eventually leads to a humongous downfall for both Elvis Presley and Parker both, in which you have to only see to believe of what really happened between these two people. Elvis is an extraordinary movie about the man behind the music and the man behind the love and the man behind everything that he carried with him. But if you want to see one hell of an amazing film, I highly of highest fucking regards recommend Elvis. It's a great damn movie with an amazing actor in Austin Butler. And you will forever and always remember the myth and legend that was the incredible, the amazing, the fucking spectacular Elvis Presley. Long live the king, long live the king indeed. Elvis is one of these films that you just have to see to experience for yourself and really understand the myth and legend of this really spectacular real life superhero of music, this great artist, and the music that came and followed his career. And you will cheer him on during this movie, and especially you will love to hate Tom Hanks' performance in this movie as Colonel Tom Parker and what he had done to the poor singer and the life that he had created around him outside from the life that he was given by his own parents. Elvis is just a spectacular movie about one legendary man that unfortunately was gone way too soon, but his music still lives on in the hearts and souls of everybody today and will always be remembered as one of the legendary greats in the music industry, as well as also for his legendary roles in movies as well. If you like this review, please rock and roll yourself down to the subscribe button so you will never miss a new upload. Or you can always shake your pelvis and shake your groove things on over to Twitter where you can follow me and make sure that you never miss anything that I do, an update or any videos as such. But until next time, I'm Lazy Universe and signing out.